spring. And I usually go to the second page. That's this page right here. Now here's some dates you need to write down. You need to put in your calendar on your phone. The first one. I'm trying to find it. Right here. Summer, fall advising for currently enrolled students begin February 22nd. Can somebody tell me what that means? In the fall. That's good. That's right. How many weeks do we open this? Anybody know? 4 weeks. 4 weeks. A month. This stays open for currently enrolled students. 80% of our students take advantage of it. 20% ignore it and come to us during the break and get mad because they can't find an advisor during the break. Why can't you find an advisor during the break? So the advisors are at home, on the farm, on the tractor. I'm sorry, that's me. Okay? I don't know what the other ones are doing. But you ain't going to find me on campus because I'm old school. I'm Dr. Garrison. And he said, the students ain't here, faculty don't need to be here. And that's the way I am. If students aren't here, I'm gone. So during the break, I'm not in my office. I'm on the farm. Okay? So you need to write that down because you need to plan on February 22nd to get on Starfish, which is right over here. Starfish, for those that don't have a clue, Starfish is under Get Connected, right there. Starfish is the appointment, it keeps up with the appointments of advisors. And the good thing about Starfish is they know who your advisor is. Starfish knows who your advisor is. So you just go to Starfish and you click on advisee appointments or advisees, whatever. I don't know what it is from the student unit. And at that time, the advisors are supposed to put in their office hours into Starfish. So when you pull up the office hours, it'll have blank 15-minute increments that you can sign up for to provide an advice. Aren't you one of my advisors? Oh, I thought you were. But, and I'm fine with people coming in. I'm even fine with people coming in without it. But don't come up here. Do not come up here during the break and get mad because you couldn't fill out a simple 15-minute thing in a month. In a month. So from February 22nd to, what comes after February? March? To March 22nd, you've got a month, pretty much, to go by your advisee. And it only takes 5 minutes for me, unless you've got 15,000 questions. And if you've got 15,000 questions, that's fine. I'll sit and I'll talk to you as long as you want me to talk to you. Okay? And I'll tell you, I may not tell you what you want to hear, but I'll tell you what you need to hear. Okay? Because I know how it feels to be a student that has no clue what's going on. I know how that feels. All right. Academic calendar. I don't know where I went. Is this it? Let me put it up again. I don't know where it is. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. That is a test question. It'll say when does pre-advising start? Pre-advising, that's what this is. When does pre-advising start and how long does it last? Donald Duck, water, flash, and then it'll have February 22nd, 1 minute. Something like that. All right, let's go over here. Last day of class for the semester is right here. April what? 26. I want you to write that down, put stars around it. That is a test question. You've seen my test, you've seen what the questions look like. That'll be on there. I want you to put in your phone. Right now, everybody should have their phone out. Just I'm giving you permission, okay? Not having cardiac arrest. Put your phone in there and put April 26th. 26. And when are the exams? Well, the exams are the next week, April 27th, or the next day, April 27th to May 3rd. I need y'all to put that in your calendar. For my very difficult in-class final exam. Any questions on that? And you can look and see when the next time we have no classes. I need y'all to do that because I don't keep up with it. When y'all tell me we don't have class, I don't show up. So I don't sit there and go, okay, we don't have class. I don't do that. I can't keep up with it. All right. Everybody good there? Any questions? All right. I think that's all those. We did all those. And I'll shut this down and we'll go into our set of questions, not questions, sections. And Unit 1. Somebody tell me what Unit 1 chapter is because I forget in here because I'm switching around. Chapter 5. Thank you. Actually, y'all could just watch the video for 120 if you wanted to. About the same. What sections do we cover in the syllabus? Does it cover all 5? Do you remember if somebody got the syllabus handy? Not the syllabus, but the last sheet. Anybody got that handy? This unit 3, but chapter 5, what does it say? 5 what? A, B, C, and D, or 5? I'm sorry, what? A, C, and E. Write that down. So we'll start with A. Now this is what I do in my Math 120 as well as the 103. I go through and I pick out stuff that you need to write it down. If you don't have a book, then you need to write it down. If you have a book, then just highlight it. Or if you print out your book. I'll show you how to print out your book if you need it. Here we go. What is statistics and what is probability? Well, let's go to our handy dandy whiteboard and go back a couple of pages as I see them. How do I do that? And there is statistics. Statistics is actually the science of collecting, crunching, and evaluating numbers. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Collecting. Well, you guys know how to collect numbers. If you're going to do a survey on who's going to vote for which candidate, you don't go over to North Carolina and start and go to South Carolina because you live in South Carolina. You got to use a little bit of common sense with some things. If I wanted to go through and find out where, let's say that I volunteer for Donald Trump, and I want to help Donald Trump in South Carolina, and I want to go and find out where Donald Trump needs to go and politic. So I go through, and there's 46 counties in Anderson County. There's 46 counties in South Carolina, I think 46. And I need to go through and I need to do a random call on every county and call 5 people in each county. And I get the phone book and I call 5 people in each county and I say, who you gonna vote for? And they say blah, blah, blah. And I write it down. Now, let's say I call Anderson County, and Anderson County, I get 5 people out of 5 people that I call, and they're registered voters, and I ask them that on the phone, and they swear that they're registered voters. I say, who you gonna vote for? And let's say all 5 of them say Donald Trump. Then does Donald Trump necessarily need to come to Anderson? No. Okay. Now, it'd be great if I had 20 people in Anderson that have called, and 20 in each. It all depends on how much money and time I have to do that. But that's what you're doing. You're using a little bit of common sense and saying, okay, I need to call 27 new people, and I need to find out. That would be the first part of collecting. You're collecting data. Of course, number crunching would be putting all those numbers. Let's say I call Bamberg. In Bamberg, there's only 2 people out of 5. Then that would be one place that something together. Or James Smith or whatever candidate I'm looking for. Alright? The whole point is you need to know what to do with the numbers after you do it. It may have moved. I understand. Alright, evaluate. What do you do with the numbers after you get it? And that is what statistics is. A lot of people say probability and statistics. Well, actually, statistics come first. You can't have probability unless you have statistics, because you got to know what the numbers say. What is probability? Well, probability is taking the numbers that you get from statistics and assigning a number to a prediction. Now, I play the lottery. I don't play it like buy 500 tickets. I buy 10 tickets. Every time there's a lottery, I buy 10 tickets. I play it for fun. Right? But if I could predict the future, I would not be teaching Scott County Tech. I would be winning the lottery. I would be going to Las Vegas. I would live in Las Vegas because I would be picking whatever I wanted to because I could foresee the future. Nobody can foresee the future. Now these people get on TV. What is her name? Chloe. I could foresee the future. I could tell you the future. It's wrong. Nobody can tell you the future. Nobody. And if you ever want to confront somebody that says they can tell the future, just ask them for the lottery number. Just shut them up right quick. Have you ever known anybody that can predict the lottery? If they could, they would do it. They wouldn't be on TV saying, I could predict the future. I could tell you what you need to do. Okay, there are people that can tell you after looking at so many things what's going to happen. Yeah, I can tell you that if I get behind an old lady on Wild Hog Road, and some of y'all know where Wild Hog Road is, some of you don't, you think about it. Wild Hog Road is 187. It connects Highway 24 with Pendleton Road. Right? And if you get on that road and you get behind a little old lady, you're screwed. Okay? You're going to be late for class. Because that old lady is going to go to the end of Wild Hog Road, and when you turn your blinker on, she's going to turn her blinker on, and she's going to turn left also. Now, is that because I can tell the future, or because it's happened to me so many times when I go to class at Pendleton campus? That, and think about it. If you live in Anderson and you're traveling Wild Hog Road, are you going to be going to Sandy Springs, or are you going to be going to Pendleton? Geographically, you're going to be going to Pendleton. Alright? Why? Well, you could have went to Sandy Springs and from the door. See what I'm saying? So not only there's several things that goes into predicting things. There is the environment, geographics. There's mathematical patterns that you have gotten behind this old lady 15,000 times in the past, and you know she's going to turn left because you've gotten behind her 15 times. And then there's the whole fact that you're running late to begin with. All 3 of those play into that. So in predicting, before I turn on my left blinker, that old lady's going to turn on her left blinker. And most of the time I'm right, and I'll just blow people's minds when I'm sitting in the car and I'm going down the road and I say, you need to pass this person. It doesn't matter, they're going to turn on their left blinker. And right when I say that, boom, they turn it on. And people are screaming. No. It's using statistics and probability. I cannot tell the future. I cannot tell you what the lottery numbers are. If I could, I'd be sitting on $1.6 billion right now instead of teaching y'all at 8 o'clock in the morning. No, I'd be on a brand new D8, Caterpillar D8 is what I would be on. That's what I'd be on. With air conditioned cab and a TV. But I cannot tell the future. So we're all stuck with a rut job because we can't tell the future. And we should all quit. So that's that. Probability and statistics. We're going to be studying this right now. And then in chapter 6, we'll go into probability. That's unit 2. Repeat? No, don't ask questions.
Why would you use bacon?
Huh? Because I could go out and whenever I wanted to win $1,002,000, I'd go in, hit whichever, because I could tell the future, I could go in and hit the slot machine because I know it's going to hit. Well, you got to have more. It's called greed. I'm just saying I wouldn't be teaching. I would not be teaching at Tri-County. In other words, if you ever met somebody, oh, you decided to come back, you got, you know. Okay, if you can tell the future, you're not going to be sitting where you are right now. That's what I'm saying. So, if you ever meet somebody that says, just hit them upside the head and say, you're stupid, go away. Don't fall for it, because you can't tell the future. You can't. So that person would be at the corner mark down here getting this lottery ticket instead of trying to get you to fall for it. Okay? That's the whole thing we're trying to explain. All right, I'll shut up. Next. I wanted to see if I had anything else. We're going to get to that in just a minute. So I'll put this down right now and go to, that's the fundamentals of statistics. Let's move on. Next page. Okay, where's the next page? Here we go. Make sure you know the two definitions of statistics. There's two definitions. Make sure you know them. That's a test question. I will get to the statistics or data. I'll get to that in just a few minutes. But right now, statistics is number crunching. That's one definition. The whole umbrella of calculating, obtaining, of calculating, and evaluating is called statistics. And then statistics is also data. Usually they put a lowercase s on the statistics when we're talking about data. But we'll get to that in just a minute. And I go between statistics as well as parameters of population. But we got to understand what the population in a sample is before we do that. And there we go. Population. I want you to know the definition between a population and a sample. Now, some of you have had statistics and probability before, and that's fine. This is just kind of going over it. Other people have never seen it before. And if you haven't seen it before, that's why I go over some of this stuff, and some of y'all think it's second nature, okay? Some of you haven't had it before. The population, if I took a survey of this class and said, how many of you were in the Marlboro Club? Okay? The sample would be this classroom. The population would be Tri-County Tech students. Well, you are Tri-County Tech students, yep, if you're here sitting at the Anderson campus in the Math 103 class. All right? So this is the sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 people I survey if you have a white car, whatever the case may be. And then I use that, the sample is used to predict the population. Then why don't you go and ask everybody in the population? Because that takes up too much of the two most important things in our lives. What are they? Time and money. That's why we have statistics and probability. That's why we have probability and statistics. Because Michelin don't want to spend millions of dollars surveying all of their plants when they can just survey one plant. Takes them time and money. And everything is driven by time and money. Okay? Whether you have an obsession with plastic surgery or whether you have an obsession with breathing. One of the two. Time and money. And you're going, ooh, that's breathing, look at the time. Figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right? Dang old Catwoman. You see that woman that had so many surgeries? She looks like a, whoo, she looks rough. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I mean, I'm a nice looking guy, I know that. But anyway, I'm kidding with that joke. The whole point is that I understand why you call them fruit, because they are unique, unique, different, special. Those are three words that always have a but behind it. Unique, special, different. But anyway, they just obsess themselves with plastic surgery and all that stuff, and same old turn on the microwave and something blows up. You gotta watch this kind of stuff. Population is too spread out and too populous for you to economically do a prediction. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's it's an election year, and let's say I have a survey. I went across the United States, and I had a survey, and it said that Donald Trump is going to win the next election by a landslide. And I tell you that I went to South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, and then to California, and I got my results from those states. Is that valid? I went across the United States. How is it not valid? Pretty much, I stayed below the Mason-Dixon line. That's one thing. It's biased toward the South. Two, I didn't cover the states between. Three, I didn't cover all the states up the north between. But I did. Did I not cross the United States? Yes, I did. You got to watch it. Sometimes statistics can lead you astray. That's why it's very important, especially during election year, that you actually look at the statistics and look at the margin of error on these polls so that you're not led the wrong way. For an example, most of your polls fall between a 2 and a 3% margin of error. Everybody with me? Well, right before one of the debates, right before one of the debates, it was like the first or second presidential debate, all of a sudden there was this poll that came out that said that Donald Trump was in second place by like 6 points. And everybody in the news was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's going on? Well, it was a poll done by CNN that only surveyed like 200 people, and it had a 6% margin of error. So why did that cause people? Why did that cause people to go, what's going on? One, because they only surveyed like 1 or 200 people, where all the other polls were surveying thousands and thousands of people, and it had a 6% margin of error. Now, why would CNN? I want to ask y'all a question. Why would CNN pick a poll too early? In other words, you ever pick a piece of fruit before it was too ripe, before it was ripe, and it was real sour? Okay, well, picking a poll is taking the results before it's time. All right, you pick a poll. Why would they pick a poll early and then throw up a 6% margin of error when all the other polls are 2, 3? Why would they do something like that? To throw other people off. It was right before debate. They wanted to make Trump. This is in the first part of Trump's what you call it election or since he, and they were trying to do what? They were trying to they were trying to sabotage him. Is what they were trying to do. Yeah, yeah. And I called it out on Facebook. I said, and before the news caught a hold of it, I said this poll is not valid. I said they picked it too early, and it's got a 6% margin of error. Who's going to listen to a 6% margin of error when all the other ones are 2 or 3? But that's what the media tries to do. They try to persuade people to vote for whoever they want in whatever office they want. I'm an anti-media person. I'm sorry, especially during elections because they try to influence people to vote, and America is stupid. Y'all take offense to that? I'm sorry, but they are. When you can tell what Clemson's quarterback had for lunch, but you can't tell me who the Vice President of the United States is? You're stupid. And you can't tell me, and if you don't believe me, go look at Water's World. Go look at, you ever seen jaywalking? Anybody ever seen jaywalking? People can't tell you who the President of the United States is. I can't fathom that. But there are people like that. And these people actually vote, which is real scary. But anyway, don't let the media influence you. It's all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge. It's all about education. Whenever you see a poll, look at it versus other polls. Because chances are, if they throw out a poll and it's causing an uproar, chances are something's wrong somewhere. Okay? So we're going to talk about that in just a second. Well, let's go ahead and talk about it now. Population and parameters. It should be on one of these pages. There we go. Write that down, just like it's written. My battery's low. I must not charge my phone last night. Must pass out. I got a charger in the truck, but I got a Droid. Nobody has Droid. Everybody has iPhone. So. Okay, well, it's 30%. Huh? Okay. Maybe you have a Droid too. I have a Samsung S6. I used to have an LG 2, and then I upgraded to this because it had a bigger screen and it wasn't important. So, I like it. I ain't never had any trouble. I had an LG or a Samsung. It's a good phone. I keep telling my son and my daughter that, but they think Apple is it. But they, even though their apples are falling apart and mine's still together, I think a little bit scare mine. Makes them scare mine when they do. But they're 18 and 9, so they know they're the same. They're the stupid stuff. Huh? Oh yeah, I've got a friend that's got a 6 plus, and hers is bigger than my screen. I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. Why don't they just make an iPad with a microphone in it so you could make it a phone? But what are people buying? They're buying dadgum phones that look like this. I mean, might as well go ahead and make an iPad and just, or what do you call it, a little iPad or tablet? Yeah, and just put a microphone in it. Yeah. Go figure. All right, statistics. And a lot of people say, well, I don't understand statistic and parameter because it just doesn't make any sense. Well, it's not really mathematically, they're not different. The reason you have a statistic versus a parameter is just for knowledge. Let me say that you go into a meeting. Let's say you work for the hospital and Anderson Hospital, and you go, I'm sorry, AmMed, and you go into a big meeting, and all the directors are there, and you're one of the supervisors, and you're listening to the directors present. And the directors are presenting, and the directors say, well, X bar is equal to 5, and they're talking about deaths per blah, 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 and they say, well, X bar is 5, and S is equal to, or the standard deviation is equal to 6, but they got X bar, and they got S. And then they got on a separate screen, or a split screen, like I got right here, they got a split screen, and then they got, whereas mu is equal to 10, and sigma is equal to 5. Okay, and you're writing notes, and you're saying to yourself, okay, I remember my Math 120 teacher, Math 102 teacher, he was telling me that when I see these things, that I ought to know the difference between them. And that's what it's for. It's for just knowledge. The mathematical formula is the same. But the context is, if you have a letter in probability, in X or an S, you're talking about what? The sample. You're talking about the small sample. If you have a Greek letter, you're talking about what? The population. And that's what you need to know. Not the mathematical formula is different. Not that there's a definition for statistic and a definition for a sample and a parameter. It's just for the context. If you go to a meeting or you present and you walk out of there going, what's X bar mean? Well, then you don't know the difference. X bar means that they're talking about the sample mean versus the mu, which is the population mean. So now, after today, if you go into a meeting or you go into something and they say mu and you say, oh, that's population mean, then you've gotten the parameter statistic on it. You've gotten it. There's nothing else. It's just the basic contextual knowledge of what they mean. That's it. Okay? So hopefully that'll help you, because I know of some people that have gone through probability and statistics and didn't know what a parameter was, and a statistic they would explain, but they didn't know what it was. It's just so you don't look like you're ignorant coming out of a meeting and saying, what does mu mean? Okay, mu means it's the parameter for the population. It's the average for the population. So they say the mu is equal to 47 and S and X bar is equal to 46, then you know you're sitting in your seat and you're saying, well, the sample population, the sample mean is about equal to the population mean. They didn't say that, they just gave you the parameter and the statistic. You ascertained that it was the sample mean and it was close to the population mean because you know the difference between a sample and a parameter. I mean a statistic and a population and a parameter. Sorry, that messed up. Okay? And you feel good about that. And that's what that means. That is a testing. So make sure you know that. Okay, so that's section whatever. Nothing on that page. And I do this where I pick out the important stuff. Make sure you understand what a random sample is. This page right here is important, page 290. Make sure you understand what a random sample is. What is a random sample? Throwing a dart at a page in the phone book and picking a name of whatever name that dart is. That's a random sample. Why? Because every name on that page has the potential of being what? Picked. Okay? The dart is really not a good thing to use because you can aim a dart a little bit. But, if it's 100 feet away from you, then yeah, if that dart hits that page, you'll be very lucky if it hits the page. But let's think of a computer with all the phone numbers in the phone book in it, and it's just going through and spinning these numbers around, and you hit enter, and as soon as you hit enter, it throws up a number. That's a random sample. How about the lottery? The ping pong balls in the air cage. Is that random? Yeah, pretty much. Especially if you buy a lot of tickets and you don't win. It's very random. Versus just buying 10. Alright? Like buy a million. And I will show you mathematically that if you buy a million tickets, you have the same probability as if you buy one. Don't go buy a million tickets, because then you'll be stupid. Because you got the same probability of winning as the person that's buying one ticket. The only difference between the lottery is the person that buys one ticket has less of a chance or more of a chance than the person that buys 0 tickets. Has more of a chance. So the person that buys no tickets has absolutely no chance. Well, that depends on how you're looking at it. Is the class half empty or class half full? But, uh, you know, I got a friend that never had played the lottery. Never. And the 1.6 million, they went out and bought the 10 lottery tickets. Of course, they didn't win, but they wanted to do it. It's fun. That's fun. That's called having fun. It's not buying 5 million tickets and your kids are going hungry in the parking lot while you're in the store with your diapers on. Okay? It's not. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody going out and buying a ticket just because they want to buy a ticket. Okay? There's a difference. Um, Simple random sample is basically what I'm talking about. What is a systematic sample? That is something that you see a pattern. The best example I know of is going through let's look at inside. The best example I know of is going through a phone book page and picking every seventh person top, every 10th person top, every second person top. If you've got a pattern, it's systematic. That's pretty simple. Convenient is the least you get least valid. Convenience is hollering out somebody that's walking down the sidewalk. Hey, do you walk to work? Well, what are they doing? I mean, they're walking. Chances are they probably walking to work. Yeah, exactly. Some of the convenience sampling. Another example of convenience sampling. Let's say you're a DJ and you are on the air, and you want to find out how many of your listeners listen to rock music. Well, if you work at a rock station and you're asking your listeners what music do they listen to, that's kind of a convenient sample because what? They're listening to a rock station. Okay? So now you see what a convenient sample is. Here's another one. You're working at the Shell station down here at Davis Melrod, which is the old Davis Melrod down at 44 where Viola lives. And you're in there and you're taking a math course and you decide to start surveying people if they're in the Marlboro Club or not. Okay? Same thing would be like sampling people if they drink Coke and Pepsi. Why? What is a convenience store? Why do you call it a convenience store? Because it's what? Don't get mad until you think. All right? Because it's convenient. When you stop there, what do you stop at a convenience store to get most of the time? Gas. Why do you go into the store? Because you've forgotten something or you're low on something and you don't want to have to go to the LA Walmart because crackheads wrestling in the parking lot. All right? So, you're at 24 exit, you're at Davis Melrod over here, 24 and Whitehall, and you're in there and you're getting gas and you walk in and you don't want to have to go to LA, so you get whatever you need, so you don't. Now, why do you pay? Well, that's economics. Supply and demand. Convenience. You're paying for convenience. You're paying that extra dollar or that extra 50 cents for the price, so you don't have to go where? LA Walmart. You're paying for the convenience. It's basic economics. The old E times 211 and 210. That's the whole precept of the convenience store, so you don't have to go somewhere else. That's why QT is so popular. QT is the Walmart or the Target of convenience stores. They are very smart. Okay? That's the only place I will go. QT has changed my whole outlook on convenience stores. I will not walk in to another convenience store because of QT. They have spoiled me. Not because they have everything, because it's clean, very clean, and all the people that work there have all their teeth. Okay? And they're nice, and they take baths, and they're a little bit proudful of themselves. Y'all think I'm crazy? Go to these other convenience stores. Tell me about it. And I will not go into another convenience store. And that's economics. Again, it's good business. What? And they have a dress code. All of them wear the same thing. Yeah, not leggings and weighing a good bit of months, weighing a good bit, but I'm not going to say anything. Oh. Anyway, that's the reason they stay behind the counter. All right. So the whole point is convenient sampling. That's convenient. It's the least valid. Stratified. Stratified is when you kind of go into the voting precinct and asking, are you Democrat or Republican? You're going into a group setting. It's a group. Anything stratified is a group. Okay? And they give you examples of those. As long as you know the difference and you know an example, you're good for the test. Okay? I'm not going to give you 15,000 essay questions on simple random sampling. This is going to be a one question. This is a random sample. This is not a random sample. Or what kind of sample is this? Or something like that. Not very difficult. So far, we're probably talking maybe 5 or 6 questions so far. Look and see what you've got. They give you an example right here. All right? Simple random, systematic, pattern, stratified, group, convenient sampling. Hey, do you support the death penalty? Chances are a person walking their dog is not going to support the death penalty. I know, but also, it's also, what she's doing is she's not going to any effort to think about who to ask, how to ask. She is hollering out the window, kind of rocky, you know. Yo, Paulie, your sister's over here. I'll call you later. All right? I'm a Rocky fanatic. Okay? I'm a Rocky and Andy Griffith fanatic. I do not watch Rocky 5. Rocky 5 is stupid. He shouldn't have made it. He said in an interview later on he should never have done it, but he was greedy. This is on. So, Rocky 5 is stupid. First one and the second one is the best. Yep. And I also looked it up on Google, and the first and the second is the top one, and then number 4, and then number 3. The reason people don't like number 3 is Mickey died. People didn't like number 3. I didn't like number 3 because Mickey died, and I sure didn't like number 4 because Apollo died. And if you went and said, you've seen Creed, it's a good one. It's real good. If you haven't seen it. You say what? Yes, I really liked it. I really know it's depressing though. I mean, he really got down to nothing to come back. It was a good movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm a movie nut. I'm sorry. I'd rather watch movies than anything. I got like, you know, what do you call it? Your genie on direct. Man, that thing's it's almost all the time filled with recordings of movies with me. I'm just a movie nut. So I'm buying into that. But anyway. I chase rabbits. Bias. There's no bias in statistics, is there? Yeah, there's a lot of bias. It's exactly what I gave you a while ago. I could name off all kind of biases in statistics, and it's usually around election time, and it's usually the media that does it. Why is it biased? What caused something biased? When it tends to favor one side, or the person given the data, it tries to persuade somebody or lean to one side based on the person giving it. That's bias. Make sure you know that. Make sure you know these two, observational versus experiment. I'll give you a good example of observation. Y'all ever seen these videos, or I don't know if you've seen them or not, but sleep apnea patients while they're sleeping? You ever seen them? They're flipping and flopping, and some of them sit up and lay back down, and you ever seen those? Is that observation or experiment? It's observation because you're just watching. A rat in a maze. That's observation. Now, what if you decide to put electrodes on a wall, a dead-end wall, and when the rat touches his nose against the dead-end wall, it shocks him? That's an experiment. You're controlling something. What if you take cheese at the end of the maze, and instead of just putting it at the end of the maze, you put it in the Ziploc bag? You've changed an observation of watching the maze, you've changed it again into an experiment because you're controlling the cheese. controlling part of the experiment. And with all you women know, it's all about what? As women know, it's all about what? Right? I was trying to get y'all to say it, but y'all wouldn't say it. It's all about control. Right? People say, oh, well, I'm not going to say it. It is a lot. I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about just people. Think about it. Think about somebody that you've always had problems with, whether it be female or male. Most of the time, it's about what? Control. Think about somebody you argue with all the time, whether it be your mother or your father or your sister or your brother or your significant other, whatever that may be. Usually, when you get in the biggest fight, it's about what? It is. Some of the biggest fights I've gotten with people that I know, it's all about, I wanted to do this, and they wanted to do this. It's all about control. Not different, it's about control. And that's what it is about the observation. And remember that, about the experiment. The only thing that makes an observation experiment is control. Now, give you another example. Let's say that I split this class in half in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 people are in group A, and these 5 people are in group B. And these 5 people I give a red pill, and these 5 people I give a blue pill. Okay? I'm a movie buff, okay? And the red pill will take off a pound or this. And you ain't got to do anything. Okay? The blue pill doesn't really do anything, but they don't know that yet. It shouldn't. Is that an observation or experiment? I do not have a red pill that takes away a pound of lead. Okay? I'd be a rich man. I wouldn't have to be teaching. I'd be selling it like that man for $700 a pill. That guy was a jerk. Did y'all? Yeah, he got arrested for it. Some of y'all are going, huh? Do y'all watch the news at all? No, it's not. You need to watch the Kumbaya news. No, I'm just kidding. There was a man that developed a drug, or that helped manufacture a drug to cure HIV, or to help curb some kind of HIV, certain type. I don't know if it's HIV or something. So it cost like $20 to make, or $200 to make, and he was selling it for $700 a pill. Yeah. In other words, he was trying to make money. It's not, because a lot of medications are bumped up just because of popularity and advance, and that's why a lot of people, disorders aren't the pharmaceutical companies as holidays are the hallmark. Think about it. When I was growing up, there wasn't any disorder. There wasn't. You didn't have any disorders. Now you have a disorder because your foot falls asleep. And guess what? There's a drug out there that helps for that disorder. I'm kind of weary about the pharmaceutical companies. I don't take a lot of medication. I'm lucky. I may have all kinds of disorders, but I'm fairly healthy. But the whole point is, I don't take something for everything. I think that's bad for your body. It's bad for your body to take all these pills, because why? Your body, where the moon, thank you, and doesn't help you. So, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about the pharmaceutical companies. And when I go to the doctor and they say, something like this, you may want to think about, no, I'm not touching it. Because I think, to me, that's getting the proof. Now, there are legitimate things, like my dad, my dad had all kinds of, he died in 2014, February 14th, matter of fact, a week ago. He died 2 years ago. And he had ill health since he was 25 years old. I mean, for him to make it to 74, he was doing good. But the whole point is, he was on medications because it kept him alive. And there are medications like, I'm just saying, Come on. I mean, some of these disorders they're coming up with, like restless leg disorder. I've got restless leg disorder. There's times that I cannot sit in a seat because I have restless leg disorder. But I ain't going out and getting drugs for it. I'll just go out and walk around the building 2 or 3 times. That takes care of it. I'm sorry. I'll shut up. I get chasing rabbits. I'm sorry. Like I said, if you want to know my good buddy, you should have dropped me the first picture. I do not do the Muhammad good buddy thing. All right. I don't do treatment control group. There we go. Placebo. Make sure you know what a placebo is. And I think all y'all know that. There's an episode of Andy Griffith. Emma Watson. Emma Watson's about to die. She's about to die because, I'll tell you a secret. My mother, you ever seen Ellie on Andy Griffith show, Ellie the pharmacist? That's what my mother looked like when she was that age. My mother could have been a dang model in the 50s. I mean, she was beautiful. But anyway, the whole point is, that's what my mother looked like. You take a picture of Ellie Walker and take a picture of my mother and put them side by side, you couldn't tell the difference. No, she didn't. Back then, they didn't care about Andy Griffith as much as they do now. So, but that's what my mother looked like. Anyway, to make a long story short, in the first episode, when Miss Ellie comes to Mayberry and she's a pharmacist, Miss Emma Watson, who's the woman that's dying all the time, she don't have a prescription for her pills. And she pays a dime for her pills, and she gets them every week. Well, anybody know this episode? Okay. Well, I have every episode, every trivia book, every trivia game. I have autographed pictures of these people. I have everything. Anyway, the whole point was she was getting sugar pills. Well, she wasn't getting her pills because Miss Ellie, she didn't have a prescription. Miss Ellie was by the book. Miss Ellie wouldn't give her her prescription. Well, she started dying. And she started dying, and she had big stomach ache because everybody was bringing her all this food, and she was, dying. She wasn't dying. She wasn't nothing wrong with her. And the whole time they found out that her uncle, the pharmacist, was giving her what? Sugar pills. And the sugar pills were keeping her from dying because she thought it kept her from dying. And that's what placebos do. All right? Some of you may have been given placebos in the past from your doctor. You may be, what do you call them? Say something's wrong with you all the time? Yeah. I was married to one, and she got it from her mother because her mother was a supervisor. Thank you. I mean, you could say something about being hit upside the head with a rock, and my ex-mother-in-law had been hit in the head by a rock 6 months. I mean, that's the type of person she was. And, oh my God! I mean, it was just everything. You could say, I've got Spanish flu, and they had already had it, or they have it now. So there's people like that think there's something wrong with them all the time. And a placebo usually takes care of it. Placebo is a very strong tool in psychology. It's a very strong tool in experiments. And it's a very strong tool in statistics. And I think the best way to learn this material is to talk about it. Because if you talk about something for 5 minutes, you'll learn it a whole lot better than reading it. So that's why I talk about it. So if you want to good up with good buddies, she could teach you this. Okay? Because I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm not going to do double blind. That confuses people, so I'm not going to do it at all. I'm not going to roll case control. How's that? If you go, let me say, if you go into a Math Science 301 at Clemson, or you go into a research class, then you'll talk about that. I don't need to talk about that. You'll never see it. You might see it 2 years from now, but you're not going to see it like next semester or anything. And you're not going to see it in any of your sciences right now. Maybe a third or fourth level science you might see it. There's your margin of error right there. gotta go into the next page. There we go. Go ahead and write down margin of error, and we'll talk about that. And class is over at what time? 11 even? Okay, so you're not lying to me. All right. Margin of error. We'll stop probably after this. Margin of error, and that is within. So in one poll in Iowa, Cruz was within 4 points of Trump. I think it was 46, 42, something like that. And the commentator said they're at a statistical tie. Is that true? Yes. Because if you add 4 points to Cruz, you'd have 46. If you subtracted 4 points from Donald Trump, he would have what? 42. So yes, they are at a statistical tie. Well, what if you add 4 points to Cruz and add 4 points to, well, if you add 4 points to both of them, it'd still be the same. It's not going to change. So within the margin of error, the lower the margin of error, the more valid what? The more valid the poll. Now, who tells you that polls are not valid? The ones that are not winning. Exactly, the ones that are not winning. All right, polls are valid. I'm not going to tell you that the polls right now are valid. I'm just going to say in the past, if 75% of blah, blah, blah says that this is going to happen, chances are that's going to happen. Whether it be voting for a certain person, or whether it be quitting their job, or whether it be doing this or doing that, polls are somewhat accurate as far as the behavior of people. Let me put it to you this way. If an establishment candidate like Marco Rubio, if he was leading by 40-something%, would we be talking about validity of polls? No, we wouldn't. Because that's who the establishment wants to be president. And it's Marco Rubio, or what's his name, Bush. And I served under his daddy, and I didn't serve, but I supported his brother, W. And he just lost his money. I mean, he's just a lukewarm politician. I'm sorry, huh? Yeah, he's the other brother. He's not like his brother, W, in my opinion. And that's why a lot of people are anti-coronation. You don't know what coronation is? Exactly. It's passing down the mantle like Bill Clinton is passing down the mantle to Hillary. You know, people don't like Hillary. That's why Bernie Sanders, the nut job, is catching up on her. People don't like Hillary. People love her. I actually did like Bill Clinton. I liked him. Economics, I liked him. He wasn't very good on defense, but I liked him economically because he did a good job. He worked with people, like Reagan did. I don't like Hillary. Never have. I don't know, and I think if you listen to the polls, people don't like her. She's got this negativism about her that just irritates people. I can't stand to watch her on stage. I can't stand to hear her talk. And that's the same way with Bill Bush. I can't stand to hear him talk. I can't stand to see him on TV. I turn the TV and I see him on. And I think it's the coronation because he's a Bush. You know, I just don't like it. And some people don't like that in an election year. Some people don't like it. And the polls have shown that she's not a likable person. But people love her husband. And people do like him. I mean, he's charismatic. She's not. He's likable. She's not. Huh? What? Well, I didn't hear. Well, there's this thing called business partnership. You know, I was in a business partnership, so I know how it feels. Anyway, that's that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stop here. Where are we at? We're on page. Somebody write down where we're at. We're at page 296. And I want to cut off the do jigger, and I want to talk about a couple of things while I call the roll. Hold on a minute.